my name, come up, respect it. All drill y'all. Stop playing with my name. I ain't gonna say it no more. I just come to let y'all know, stop, put some respect on my name.
Fool me, we can't get fooled again.
Been telling these haters that I'm the greatest, man. Back when I was just homeless, I couldn't see the plan. Praying for steak, but didn't have no pen. Broke bread with them when I had nothing. Took advantage of me cause they knew they can't. Not to fall, all I wanted was friends.
What's going on, family? Thank you once again for tuning into the Urban Turban Podcast. My name is Reef, the real Reef, and I want to thank you for taking the time out of your busy day to sit down with me and have another fireside chat with no fire. But I thank you once again. So this is going to be a little bit of a hard episode for me to talk about, but I said fuck it. I might as well be vulnerable in true masculinity, be as vulnerable as possible, and not be afraid of judgment. So let's get into it. This episode is going to be about red pill versus blue pill. There is a lot of aspects of reality that this delves into, that it deals with, not just male and female relations, but it is a part of it. And so if you give me a moment just to look at my phone, I will pull up the definition. And bear with me, I do have a very long password. Because for some reason, there we go. I finally remembered it. I'm thinking that somebody's going to try to hack me, but I don't got nothing important. Anyway, so as per Urban Dictionary, red-pilled is a term that refers to being informed of the truth behind a situation, especially if it is a difficult one to accept or exposes delusions. It originates from the movie The Matrix, which is one of my favorite movies, where Neo takes a red pill to learn the ugly truth about his existence. This term has become a popular phrase among cyberculture and signifies a free-thinking attitude and a waking up from normal life of sloth and ignorance. Red pill prefers the truth, no matter how gritty, painful it may be. A red pillar is someone who is proficient in the act of red pilling and attempts to lead their target to the side of political spectrum through a variety of mediums, most commonly memes, edgy jokes, and misquotes. So I guess, let me put this down for a second. I guess by definition, I would be considered a red pillar. For the simple fact that I stand for honesty. I didn't always stand for that. I thought it was cool to go along with, to get along and be just like most people, lie, steal, cheat, do whatever just to get ahead. Until one day I woke up and realized that I had a problem with these things when these things were done around me as a kid, and I'm doing these same things to quote unquote fit in. And so I guess I allowed society or reality, outside perspective, to change me at my core, and it started having an effect on my life for negative purposes. And so at some point I just decided just to wake up out of this and go back to my true calling, which is being as honest as possible, being radically honest, one of my other favorite books. And so I guess by nature I would be considered a red pillar because I don't take crap. I don't like lies. I don't like deception. I don't like duplicitous people. If you don't know what the word duplicitous means, it means someone who takes pride in hiding the truth. They like it to be deceptive. Another term for these type of people are Machiavellian. They like to hide behind the scenes, pull strings, haters. I like to call them the unfulfilled, because when they see a fulfilled person or someone who's trying to become fulfilled, they try to sabotage you. If they see you have talent, if they see you have anything, any inkling that's going to have you get outside of the quote unquote norm, 9 to 5, grinded rat race that we're all kind of entrenched in, those people will, for lack of a better term, crabs in a barrel, seek to pull you down. And so I have never been the type of person that if I see someone who's more talented or in a better position in life than me, that I would hate on them. I would actually, I actually learned from my mom. She said, hey, go ask that person what they do. Go ask that person how they got to where they are. That's one of the greatest bits of advice my mom ever gave me. Now, when it comes down to it, being raised by a mother who tried to make me be different from other men, right? At the same time, did not prepare me for modern women. So that's a whole nother story in a sense. I love my mom. I'm a mama's boy. But if I'm being honest, she did not prepare me for modern women and did not tell me the truth about how women can be. And so she did her best. That also goes to having a positive male figure in my life. My dad was not a positive male figure, as you may know. However, he did, get a lot of women, but he did it in a measure of like lying, acting like he was bigger than what he was. He would make things up just to get in any woman's pants. And so I seen that as an example. And I was like, I don't want to be nothing like my dad. And there's a book that I listened to called No More Mr. Nice Guy. And he says in the book, the opposite of crazy is crazy. So if I don't like my father and my mother is not all the way mentally sound and not prepared enough to take care of me, to raise me to be a 100% man, because unfortunately no woman can do that. It's the bond of two parents together to raise a fully functional man and a fully functional woman. It has to be two parents working together properly to raise a child. Now, I'm not saying that there's not anomalies, that sometimes you have a single parent and they're able to raise you into a good, quote unquote, good man or good woman, but the likelihood is very low. You're going to wind up, statistically speaking, not faring well, as I'm one of those people who fell into the statistics of not being properly prepared for how things could be. So getting back to what I was saying, the opposite of crazy is crazy. So if I'm trying to be everything opposite from my crazy ass father, and I'm like, I don't want to be like this man, then I'm going to be my own version of crazy, which is just not having the proper self-value for myself, understanding my worth, understanding what it means to be a man, understanding what is required of me to be the best version of myself, understanding the differences between men and women. These things I hated. I hated men. I hated women at one point. I hated both. And I'm being vulnerable right now. And I know how it's going to make me sound, but I don't care. When I was younger, I was hit or miss with females. I was very good. When I didn't realize that when I was exhibiting confidence, that's when, even when I was homeless, I was still getting girls, to the amazement of my quote unquote bros. They would be hating on me when I would leave. They would tell girls to not talk to me because I was broke. All these things that they would do because they, for lack of a better term, they just couldn't understand how I was able to still pull females with all my issues and my homelessness and all the things that are going on. And at the same time, I'm listening to these same people who are supposed to be my friends and taking their advice. But all they do is lie to girls. All they do is cheat. All they do is things that, like, I didn't like about my father, and I'm following these same things. And I'm like, at a certain point, shit don't add up. You know what I'm saying? So by my very nature, I've always questioned things. And so I guess that makes me a red pillar. because I don't accept the status quo. I always ask questions. I don't take bullshit. I will never take bullshit. I will always call things out as it is. And so I think that is healthy. I think we have to be radically honest. I think the reason why there's so much, infighting between the human race, whether it be white, black, whether it be male, female relations, is because of the lack of the acknowledgement of what truth is. Truth is unwavering. Truth, it is what it is. It's unchangeable for the moment. Not saying that two competing truths can't happen. That's also another concept that a lot of people have a hard time understanding. Two competing truths can be true at the same time, if you understand what I'm trying to say. The experiences that men have can be true, and they can be exactly at odds with how women view things. But it can also be true what women experience as well, versus whatever men of the black race and men of the white race. We can have diametrically opposed truths, but at the same time they're competing and they exist at the same time. And so we have to be understanding of that. So with that being said, sometimes you're going to hear some things that you don't like because it makes you feel uncomfortable. But it doesn't mean that it's not true. And I think we have to be aware of that and be able to digest that it's okay. This makes me feel uncomfortable, but what is it trying to get me to do? And uncomfortability is good. That's how we are able to change. That's how we're able to grow. The only way that we can do that is through uncomfortability. Just like going to the gym, just like working out. You're doing push-ups, you start with 1, and then you can do 2, and then you can do 4. It takes time, but we can't run away from uncomfortability just because it doesn't make us feel good. And I think that's a big thing that's going on in our world is everybody wants to be so damn comfortable that it's actually causing us to decay. You cannot get stronger without a little bit of toughness. And so sometimes some things are going to be tough. So for instance, I will go and talk about my own personal life. I would sit here and say that I want a feminine woman, but at one point I was not even capable of taking care of myself. So how am I going to require a woman that's feminine, that's going to be in her feminine, if I'm not being in my masculine, if I'm constantly seeking approval of other people, if I don't know who I am? These things that a woman looks for in a man is him understanding himself, him having confidence. Yeah, money, all that other stuff, high value, all those other terms that they use are definitely, they have their place. But I'm talking about it at its core. A woman looks for a man for security. So if you don't exhibit confidence, if you don't have a plan, even if you don't got the money, if you're not working on yourself, if you're not focused, how can you expect someone who looks up to you for those things or looks to you for those things to find you attractive? And I think a lot of men have a hard time hearing that. At the same time with the females, we want feminine women, and sometimes it's hard for women to come out of that masculine and allow a man to lead. And when I say lead, it doesn't mean that, oh, you listen to me, bitch. Like, I'm not saying that if you like that, that's fine. But I'm not saying it has to be that way. But I'm talking about, we seek your counsel, but at the same time, we're making decisions. I think that is hard for a lot of modern women to get rid of that or be able to let go of that control. And I get it. I understand. It's the key word, like I said earlier, is vulnerability. I think that everybody is afraid of being vulnerable because of how they're going to look, because of the social media age that we in. Everybody wants to look perfect. And, we have to be willing to be vulnerable, and we have to be willing to sometimes give up control to ultimately have control. It sounds counterproductive, but that's the truth. So with that being said, another aspect of red pill, I at a young age was exposed to, I guess conspiracy theories, different things that you can't really call something a conspiracy if it's true. And that's another thing that I hate about these terminology. When I say conspiracy theories, I'm talking about governmental things, inside jobs, 9/11, all these things that most people of our generation live through. And now you find out that a lot of these things are coming to be truth. Even during the jab season, because, I don't want to be taken down. During the jab season, a lot of the information that was given to us by officials was untrue. And it's coming out to be untrue. And a lot of the information that, was quote unquote conspiracy or false or fact checked is coming out to be that it was actually true. And so we're living in some warped realities right now about up is down and down is up. And, we have to stop that. We have to subvert that. We have to stop lying to ourselves about things and accepting lies from other people. Like I said, there's only two types of people. There's true men and true women, and then duplicitous men and duplicitous women. I, for one, cannot stand duplicitous men and duplicitous women. I'm the type of man, if I am in a relationship now, I wasn't always like that. If I feel like I have to step out of the relationship to fulfill my needs, I'm going to let the person know that I'm talking to, or the females that I know that I'm talking to, I'm going to let them know that you are not the only one, or that I need other needs to be met. Either you're going to stick with me, or you are more than free to live your life. I think that is respectable. I work in environments where, like I said, you have, on my Instagram, I've said this, you have men and women who are married, sleeping with each other in the office, at the same time calling their husbands and their wives, "Oh, I love you so much." That's foul. I don't care what you want to say. You think it's cool that this toxic culture, you're selling lies. And for those people I don't know how they're able to sleep at night. I was at one point in a long-term relationship, and I was talking to another female, and then when my girl found out and started crying, that shit affected me. And I remember what that was like when I saw my mom crying, and I said, I can't do that no more. Excuse me. And so I never continued with that type of behavior. Now, did I do it? Yes, but you have to know. I'm not saying that you have to be perfect, and I want to get that clear. Being a truth seeker, for lack of a better term, if you don't like red pill, or truth seeker, is making mistakes, but realizing when you're wrong. That's a part of the truth. You have to be able to admit when you're wrong and when you've made a mistake. And yes, I made mistakes. That's how now I've gotten to the point and said I would never do that. But you have some people, a lot of people in the world, who will make a mistake and they will double the fuck down. That shit is stupid. It's destructive, it's toxic, and it's overbearing. It's controlling, it's manipulative. We got to stop that. So like I said, if I was talking to a female, and any female, I would let them know, hey, listen, you're not the only one. I want to be clear. If you're looking for something that's monogamous, one-on-one, it's not going to work. If I felt like I had to do that. If I was already in a relationship, listen, I want to start sleeping with other people. I don't want to lie to you. I don't want to lead you on. There's nothing wrong with doing that. I think that's necessary. When you give off a facade of who you are, you're just creating more lies and manipulation and destroying everything in this world. The next generation, your current relationships, your word. All we have in this life is not our material possessions. A lot of people think that wealth is just material possessions, and it's not. Your word is your wealth. And a lot of people are physically rich, but piss poor verbally and morally. And we have to really bring that back. Integrity. Like, what we say has to match who we are. You can't just say you're a person and not actually be that person. That shit is whack. I don't care what nobody else gonna tell you. They gonna promote toxicity. Yes, ma'am, I'm toxic. All these things in the song. That shit is, bro. At the end of the day, half y'all motherfuckers is going home, fucking crying, and tired of this shit. But you just want to continue because it's promoted to you. We don't gotta live like that. The best method is honesty. You can get what you want by being honest, without being manipulative. And if you have to do those things to get what you want, then you really should question if that's what you should be doing. For instance, one thing that I became very red pill aware of prior to I had no knowledge is there's a such thing as female predators. Our society constantly demonizes men and says that, we're rapists. True. That's very true. That men are predominantly pedophiles. That's very true. There's a lot of men who are pedophiles. But we need to definitely make it aware that the same issues that affect men as toxic masculinity, there is toxic femininity. There are women who are female predators. They hide behind the guise of the feminine role of caretaker, and they use that and abuse it to their advantage because they know that most of society does not think that they exist. They think that they're always in the victim. And two books that I would love to recommend if you have the time to read, because I know it's a lot. Trust me, with modern day life, trying to just get by, I get it. But just take time to read some books and upgrade yourself. Trust me, it will change your life. The first book is The Myth of Male Power. If you give me a moment to look up on my phone the name of the author, give me 1 second, please. And once again with this long-ass password. Okay. Now I'm in my phone. The Myth. Yes, The Myth of Male Power by Warren Farrell. It's a great book. This gentleman is a scholar. He was a profound feminist. He was actually a part of the feminist movement. And he slowly started backing out because he realized that there's a lot of inequalities that men face as well that is promoted by society, and he took a very broad view. And so I said that book first because it's very crucial that someone who is a feminist, right, a male feminist at that, and part of the original movement, started realizing and waking up and seeing that there's a lot of inequalities that men face as well that are promoted to us. The only difference is that females grouped up and did something about it. And so the second book that I would love to recommend is, bear with me 1 second as I go off camera for a second. This book right here, it is called Female Sexual Predators, Understanding Them to Protect Our Children and Youths by Karen A. Duncan. Now, this is a female journalist. She started writing this because she noticed that there was a lack of studies about these things. There's many studies that are geared towards men and males in regards to sexual predator, but she noticed that there's not enough data and she compiled a lot of information about these type of characteristics and traits and how to protect our children and, our young men, because men get raped too. We get date raped. We get roofied. We get molested. If you remember, they even had a whole movie about this, underage relationship Adam Sandler made, and, they glorified it in a movie, but the boy was being raped by a woman, and so we really have to understand that everything is not what it seems. There's different levels to this type of things. Whether I was exposed to, what is it called? The movie Zeitgeist. I know everybody or some people have seen that. That was big on Netflix, and different things about different conspiracies. And I thought that was as far as it goes. But, the truth and truth seeking goes on different levels as well. There is a lot of people who benefit off of you not being aware of things. And so we can't continue to go through life not wanting to be aware, wanting to, cover our eyes with rose-colored glasses. We have to be aware of things, and not to scare the shit out of you, because that's not the point of my podcast. The point of my podcast is to make you aware of things so you can arm yourself and be the best version of you. You cannot arm yourself and be the best version of you if you don't know how to use the gun, if you don't know how to use the weapon, if you don't know how to fight, if you don't know how to stand up for yourself. That's the reason why I provide this information. It's so that you can take it and do something with it if you choose to. You cannot run away from the truth, because the truth is what we need. It is our only weapon to fight against the deception. Truth is good. It is your friend. Like I said, love is the only thing that can defeat hate. It's been said many times over. And so to quote Gandhi, I believe, he said, first they ignore you, then they laugh, then they fear you, then you won. And I just want to say I love you guys like a fat kid loves cake, and I appreciate every single one of you. Peace.
What is going on, family? I am Reef. I am an audio engineer with a plethora of experience in many different genres. Not just hip-hop, not just R&B, not just pop, you name it. Anything in between. Afro beats, folk music, you name it. If you need your track mastered, you came to the right spot. I've done stuff for TV, radio, commercials. It doesn't matter. I can do it all. I'll master your dog. Whatever you need, you came to the right spot. If you need that bop, we on top.